Silly, silly, silly me. Silly me. Hello, everyone. So today's going to be interesting. I hope you're all paying attention because this is super important information. I just need to get my second screen working here because super, super, super important today. We're going to be talking about the water table and keep Africa with no water. No, that's not a joke. It is fully serious. Essentially, that bitch don't know what she's talking about. Need my second screen. 1 second. Being a little bee. So essentially, it's important to realize why exactly we have issues with certain political countries and why, as well as why that's important for North America too. So I'm just pulling up my maps here because this is like when I say this is important, it's that important. Not that one. I have it as a file here. I just don't know where to put it. But regardless, this will be one of the most important discussions that we ever have in politics. And when you realize what exactly is going on medically, it goes, holy shit, maybe I should treat people a little differently. Okay. Not there. So helpful. So helpful. Okay, I'll go through here. That's not a problem. Let's do politics. There it is, water table. Beautiful. Family. Okay. They were there earlier, and then just all of a sudden they went poof. I'm not here. Just like the ghost of your mother. Which is fun. Okay. So let us look here. Window. All right. So, as you can see, we have a man. Right? Okay. Do you notice anything interesting, funny off of this coast? If you trace this line, notice the elevation and note the route. Notice anything interesting? What are you noticing? Notice the elevation changes? Ooh. It This is so important, it's not even funny. Okay, let's digest this. Why? Because it could be the difference between war and not war. So, first of all, I say to Greta, Greta no water, Greta no problem. No water, no problem. Greta no water today. Vote for Greta. Said nobody ever. Let's go through it. So, for some of you who are doctors, this will make sense automatically. Let's talk about different energy systems, but not only energy systems. What does salt have? Here, I'll make this closer. Yeah. As I kill things. So we're talking about a positive charge, first of all. Sodium. We know that within the cell, sodium is harder to change. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the map. What does that mean for our map? Oh, right. It means that in certain areas, like here specifically, let's talk about some medical conditions that they might be struggling with there. What might be happening? Right. Valent electrons. What do valent electrons do? They pair. Just like sodium chloride, table salt. It goes from a positive and it finds a negative and it goes, whoop, I'm attached to you for life. Just like marriage. What's sex, right? It goes, I like you. I'm going to befriend you. Okay. Well, let's talk about in some of these areas then, right? Again, look at the map. Right here, this essentially becomes a water table that not only purifies the water as it's going over this, right? And it's leaving in the Himalayas, you've got the pink sea salt, Himalayan pink sea salt, which is actually extra ions because of the iron. Ferrous iron. Plus, 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 plus. Okay, so now we got an atom here. Which is a positive charge overall. Let's call this subject A. What does that mean? Ooh, good question. I'm glad you asked. It means in the areas of Lower East Rhineland, Crimea, what might they have struggles with? First one, neuroplasticity. They will have basically, out of a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is easily changing your mind, right? You can be like persuaded. Not going to happen. They are over here on the 1 in those sections of the world. Well, why? Because sodium as a whole hardest to change within the human body, which means their neuroplasticity, their ability to change how they think, is little to impossible. If they do, it means they have to like literally put in 10 times the amount of effort that somebody would in a different section of the world who doesn't have it. Why? Because they are literally a preserved salt. They are a canned good. It's like a pickle. Are you going to just randomly go to the store and tell that pickle, you have to be a sweet pickle? I don't think it works like that. Well, then don't do it to your friends around the world. Not going to happen. Not overnight. For them to go to school, for them to do learning, for them to do anything in life is 10 times harder. Not only that, they are 10 times more likely to get sick with parasites. Right? Think about it. So let's say coronavirus, let's say it has a negative charge. Hello. Nice to meet you. I am now your best friend. We are getting married. Boom. Because you have the extra valent electron. So think about it. They also live in a colder climate. They live in a colder climate. So now not only do they have, they literally have an immunodeficiency just by being born there. Has nothing to do with who they have sex with. Has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that they grew up in an area with tons of salt. In the air, in their food, right? That builds up over time. Okay, well, now let's add another principle to this. What do you notice about here and here? There's two kind of spots, right? Where the salt ends up. What else is going to be traveling with that salt? What do we know from sluicing for gold? What do we know about water tables? What do we know about water purification? Heavy metals don't travel as far. This has two implications. One, Lower East Rhineland is screwed. Crimea literally gets the shit end of the stick, quite literally. Because not only do they have extra valent electrons from the salt being deposited in their soil, in their air, when they breathe it in, all of that adds up. But not only that, they have alkaline metals. Hello, extra valence. I hope you don't mind me saying, but, well, they're the sluts. Because they have so many valent electrons willing to pair off within their bloodstream, running and coursing throughout their body at a microbiology level. Down at a cellular level, their body is trying to, which not only makes them the ability to get sick 10 times easier, it also gives them explosive personalities. Dead set in their way, explosive personalities with literally neuroplasticity that is about 1 out of 10 is uh, the ability, not ability, but rather the difficulty level, I should say, of them being able to make a change within their mind of, okay, I can wrap my head around this. Unless it's something like super logical like this, where it is like black and white, that is how their society works, just based off of their environment. So keep in mind, alkaline metals. Not, what do they do? Oh, right, explosive. What do you mean by explosive? Alkaline metals. If you were to drop a golf ball sized chunk of rubidium, if you were to toss that off the Sky Bridge in Ontario, in Hamilton, you'd take out the fucking bridge. If you've never seen an alkaline metal experiment, just research it on YouTube. Just go rubidium meets water or alkaline metal and water high school video. Literally, they toss a tiny chunk about that big into a bathtub and it explodes. Thankfully, rubidium is hard to find. So, although this is the black market here in Toronto, so kids, don't do it. Just for the record, don't do it. Don't make me chase you down. It's explosive because of all of the valent electrons that are a positive. So as soon as the alkaline metals hit a water, explosive. Well, this has a couple things. So I will say to my doctors over there and the doctors over here, if you have someone who grew up in Slovenia, in Ukraine, just Crimea in general, switch it to a water, change it to a sugar water drip. But with a high pH. And that should help. Why? Because one of the reasons why they're more than likely a little bit fearful of American medicine is the stroke rates. What happens with somebody from Crimea who grew up around all that salt, probably on a farm, who probably got Toxoplasma gondii, if they have a farm cat, which is a parasite that makes you become basically a serial killer with different tendencies, less afraid of fear, but it also turns you into like an incestuous cat, essentially. Basically, you start turning into the cat. It's the first stage of HIV and herpes. First stage of HIV, actually, which is where your skin starts to change. But the first thing you'll notice is lactose intolerance, actually, because since your body thinks you're now turning into a cat, it starts shutting down the enzyme production of the enzymes that you require to break down milk that a cat doesn't. So that's your first symptom if you have it, just for the record. So it means their stroke rate, just as an individual who goes to the hospital, who might be dehydrated as an older individual, means boom. They get an IV with saline, right? As soon as that water that is micro buildup from micronutrients, as soon as that builds up within the brain and you get that IV, boom. Hello, aneurysm time. So what does that say about politics? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, doesn't it? It means that every single individual that you come in contact with that is from one of these areas, the mountains of Tibet, the Sherpas are a bit different. This one's actually pretty cool. Since the Sherpas grow up, I'm talking about K2, Mount Everest, which my friend has actually climbed. She's a lovely individual. I know her as Nadine, but back in the day, she climbed K2. And she's a fabulous, fabulous lady. She's a bodybuilder now, actually. And a real sweetheart, actually. But if you watch the documentary, it's pretty cool, actually. But the Sherpas have an advantage over lower East Rhineland. They're at a higher altitude. Do you know why they don't need an oxygen tank? To help K2? The most important question, always, why? Why might they not? Because when it evaporates up there as water, since you're so high up in altitude and the air is thin and you're in a different atmospheric layer, they actually breathe in ozone. They're actually breathing in ozone. They will be some of the best firefighters, etc., that you could have. Their bodies also then regenerate quickly. They don't need as much actual air to breathe. Well, actually, I'm going to go lung capacity. They come to a lower altitude and they're like, they like get high. They're going to get high at like a normal altitude, essentially. They're going to come down and they're going to have such an oxygen overload. But that's why they don't need oxygen tanks to sit at the top of the mountain like everybody else of the K2 climbers, which is phenomenal. What does this say about them, though? They also have extreme personalities, but they seem to be a little bit more adaptive. And I come down to one thing, spirituality. They are very spiritual people. Now, most of Russia is Orthodox. Did you know that? 90% of Russia is Orthodox Christian. Think maybe your foreign policy there needs to change, some of you? I sure hope so. They protect us from the east as a fire break. Their population is on the border. I'd say what, 80-ish%? Probably. So right here, who's living in the dead middle of Russia? It's inland. Extreme heat in the summer and cold in the winter. Now, when I'm talking extremes, I'm talking like 60 degrees below. To in summer, upwards of sometimes 50 degrees Celsius in summer. It's called the inland effect. That would be like right here. Not a high population. But again, not the biggest thing, right? Well, I mean, it is the biggest thing. Because how long have they been doing that without a thank you? Then if you talk about the Olympics, let's talk about Canada. Surplus over 1 billion. Russia paid 16 billion bid for Sochi. They developed and put in another how much to make 68 billion total cost. Recovered 38. Total. They lost 30 billion when they hosted Sochi. Think maybe some foreign policies need to change. Also, they're kind of bookended with Islam and Islam, but more so Islam and atheist in Crimea. Again, Crimea, salt. Danger. Not their fault. How does this shape your politics? How does this shape your worldview now? How does this shape how we do business with these other countries? How about this one? I'll say this one again because some people still clearly aren't listening. Let's talk about Neurotoxicity. Neuro, brain, toxic, city. It's a little bit different here, right? Cicity. If we're talking about specificity, we're talking about how specific something gets. So down to the details, right? What's the nitty gritty? Like right now. It's very specific by this terminology. So let's talk about India, Bangladesh, Iraq, Iran, most Islamic states, but specifically these two here. What can we infer by this word when I'm talking about that to this? Ooh, glad you asked. Orange Cheeto haze. What's it the byproduct of? I'm a white bitch for 500. What would create this to then that? Sulfides. The reason you have that catalytic converter on your truck, it's from diesel, unrefined. Okay. Neurotoxin. Okay. I'm a white racist shithole for 500, Alex. These two products are the byproducts rather, of burning leaded fuel. What is mercury in lead, Alex? That is correct. We have a winner. Have you tried having lead for dinner lately or mercury? How about just a consistent diet? Breathable. Mercury and lead diet as an American. No? Then shut the fuck up. Not Durka Durka. Refer 2.1. Why are they hiding in bunkers? Right. Hiding from the church. This book is a personal telling of family history and the issues that plagued those countries over there. At one point, he was working out, and I'm pretty sure he was working out at Body and Soul based off of the description, but he was working out at a gym downtown Toronto when 9/11 happened. And he says in his book exactly how every Islam felt when the plane hit the towers. And well, I can tell you right now, it wasn't a brown group. Oh God, please don't let it be Muslims or Arabs. Literally, how every single one of them felt here in this country. Meanwhile, who's the terrorist now, bitch? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy Pride. And if you're not Pride friendly, go get fucked yourself. Because, well, I can prove the gay gene is related to body system and energy type. And if you don't want to believe me, fine be by you me. Just know that in the court of law, I will fucking take you to the fucking ground and further. I will take you to hell, put you in hell, lock you there, and then I'm going to beat you with the law before I mop the floor. Actually, no, I'm going to mop you with the floor because one, it's cleaner and has less dirt. Two, deserves more respect. And well, doesn't deserve to be walked on really compared to you. So I'm going to walk all over you. Sound like a plan? Good. Glad you get it, bitch. Enjoy your day. And happy Friday.